Growing up, all I ever heard was, Landon's the gifted one. Landon's the genius. Landon's going places. Even teachers introduced me as his brother, like my entire identity was his shadow. And I tried not to care. I really did. Because I loved him. We were the Warren brothers, the two kids everyone assumed were headed for greatness. He was the brilliant, handsome, smooth-talking prodigy with straight A's and early college offers. I was the quiet one who liked taking apart computers, keeping to myself, and staying out of trouble. But everything changed the year crypto went insane. Landon didn't just dabble, he dove in headfirst, calling himself a market visionary, telling everyone he cracked codes no one else could. And people believed him. Family believed him. Neighbors believed him. Even our parents treated him like he was building the next financial revolution in our basement. But the truth? Landon wasn't a genius. He wasn't a prodigy. He wasn't building anything. He was stealing. Every dollar he could touch. Every login he could access. Every account he could guess. He scammed family, friends, neighbors, and then he came for me. By the time I realized what he'd done, it was too late. My savings. My tuition fund. The money I was keeping for mom's medical bills. Gone. Converted into crypto and invested into a fantasy. But what Landon didn't know, what no one knew, was that while he was wasting his life chasing fake brilliance, I was studying cybersecurity. Quietly, privately, obsessively. I wasn't a genius like him, but I was damn good at one thing. Catching people who think they're smarter than everyone else. So when the FBI knocked on our door, and everyone expected them to shake Landon's hand and offer him an internship, they didn't. They said, "Mr. Warren, Caleb is the one who contacted us." And that was the day the world found out the truth. Landon wasn't a crypto genius. He was a criminal. And I was the one who finally stopped him. My name is Caleb Warren, and for most of my life, I lived next to a human spotlight. My brother Landon was the kid teachers bragged about in the teacher's lounge. He could memorize formulas in minutes, charm adults without trying, and talk his way out of any punishment. He got early acceptance letters from 3 universities before he even graduated high school. Mom practically framed them on the wall like an award collection. Me? I was the kid who fixed the Wi-Fi whenever it broke. Quiet. Technical. Invisible. If Landon walked into a room, people greeted him like a celebrity. If I walked in, they'd ask, "Is Landon coming too?" But I never envied him. Not at first. Because Landon had a way of making you believe he actually cared. He'd clap you on the back, call you bro, joke around like you were equals. He'd say things like, "You're smarter than you think, Caleb." Or, "Bro, you and me, we're unstoppable." I believed him. Because he was my brother. My only brother. And then crypto happened. It started harmlessly enough. Landon bought some Bitcoin like every other 20-something pretending to be a financial guru. But then he got obsessed. And by obsessed, I mean, he stayed up all night reading Discord threads. He started talking like an inspirational cult leader. He called himself a disruptor. He watched YouTubers who say, "bro," every 5 seconds. He suddenly acted like he understood macroeconomics. He talked about building generational wealth from our basement. People ate it up. Our parents bragged about him at church. Family friends asked him for investment tips. He started wearing those cheap sunglasses crypto bros love, indoors, talking about market volatility. It started to feel less like a hobby. And more like a personality disorder. While Landon was trying to become the next Elon Musk's crypto cousin, I was studying cybersecurity. Not flashy. Not glamorous. Not Instagram success story material. Just me. My laptop. Online courses. Practice labs. Network security simulations. Bug hunting challenges. Long nights. Quiet victories. And not a single person knew. Because when everyone thinks the sun revolves around Landon, no one bothers to look at the moon. I didn't want applause. I didn't want validation. I wanted a career, a real one. A future that didn't rely on luck, hype, or memes. What I didn't know was that this very thing, my quiet obsession with cybersecurity, would become the only weapon I had when everything came crashing down. At first, Landon was just annoying. Arrogant. Talked too much. Normal stuff. But then the requests started. Bro, can I borrow $200? I'll flip it in a week. Hey, let me use your laptop for something quick. Do you mind sending me your PayPal login? It's just for something small. No. No. And absolutely not. But I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Because 3 months later, I logged into my bank account. And my stomach dropped into my shoes. My savings. My tuition money. The emergency fund I spent years building. All gone. Not withdrawn. Transferred. To a crypto exchange. Under someone else's name. A name I knew very well. Landon. On the surface, my brother Landon looked like the golden child. Straight A student. Cybersecurity prodigy. Professor favorite. The guy who could hack his own calculator just because he was bored. Our whole family bragged about him at every dinner table like he was already halfway into Quantico. Landon's gonna end up with the FBI someday. That boy is smarter than the entire county combined. His brain is a national asset. Meanwhile, me? I was just Caleb, the older brother who majored in something normal, had a stable job, paid taxes, and didn't light fireworks inside the garage when I was 12. But when Landon got into crypto, everything shifted. Crypto wasn't just a hobby for him. It became a personality. He went from quiet genius, walking investment sermon in like 3 weeks. He'd walk into the living room at 2 a.m. wearing blue light glasses saying, Cal, wake up. I just 10x'd overnight. Do you have any idea what this means for our family? I'd wipe drool off my cheek. It means I'm going back to sleep. But he wouldn't stop. Charts. Graphs. Candles. Indicators. Discord groups. Webinars with dudes who looked like they hadn't showered since the Obama administration. Suddenly, every conversation included. Caleb, you have to get in early. Caleb, you're gonna regret not buying this coin. Caleb, the whales are accumulating, this is our moment. Look, I'm not dumb. I know crypto can make money. But Landon wasn't normal about it. He got manic. Obsessive. Eyes red. Hands shaking. Barely sleeping. Barely eating unless I shoved food at him. And every time I tried to talk to him about taking a break, he hit me with, Bro, you don't get it. I'm working on something huge. I'm so close. Close to what? A meltdown? One night, around 11 p.m., I walked past his room and saw spreadsheets open across all 3 of his monitors. Normal. But then I noticed something off. They weren't charts. They were transaction records. Hundreds of them. From multiple wallets. Multiple platforms. And none of them looked like his. I asked, what's all this? Without looking away from the screen, he snapped. Research. Don't touch anything. Research? Or something else? His mouse hand kept twitching. his knee bouncing like a jackhammer. He had 6 tabs open labeled. Wallet sync tool. AI trade bot beta. Liquidation logs. Multisig access. Gemfinder AI. Private Excel do not open. So obviously. I opened it when he went to shower. Inside? A list of people's names. Their wallet IDs. Their expected ROI. Their initial deposits. And a column titled Integration Complete, of some random name. Integration of what? Their accounts? Their coins? Their entire portfolios? My stomach clenched. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Over the next 2 weeks, I noticed strange behavior. Landon started avoiding eye contact. Stopped eating at family dinners. Talked faster. Hands shaking more. Always checking his phone like it had a countdown timer on it. He'd say things like, "Everything's temporary. It'll all balance out once the cycle resets. We're gonna be set for life. I just need a little more time." Time for what? One morning, he walked into the kitchen looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Cal," he said, voice shaking, "I need to borrow like a few thousand." "A few? Dude, what's going on?" He froze. Eyes darting. Jaw tight. "Nothing. It's just to cover a position. It's temporary. I'll triple it. I wasn't born yesterday." "What did you do?" He looked at me with this forced smile, the kind people wear when they're inches away from collapsing. "Trust me, man. I'm building something huge." But I didn't feel trust. I felt dread. The kind that sits in your lungs and doesn't leave. A few nights later, I walked downstairs to get water and found Landon in the living room, on the floor, laptop open, breathing fast, eyes wide like he'd seen something horrifying. He whispered, "No, no, 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 this can't be happening." I knelt down. "Landon? What happened?" He just stared at the screen, frozen. The screen showed wallet balance, $0. Liquidation complete. Positions closed. Failed margin call. Access revoked. 8 different accounts. Not his. Not mine. All zeroed out. I whispered, "Landon, whose money was that?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. His silence told me everything. It wasn't his. It wasn't legal. And if anyone found out, the consequences wouldn't just be bad. They'd be federal. Landon wasn't a crypto genius. He was drowning. Panicking. Slipping into something dangerous. And the worst part? I still didn't know just how deep he was in. Or how dark the truth was about to get. But one thing was clear. Whatever he'd done, I wasn't prepared for the FBI to come knocking. Landon's crypto obsession was starting to bleed into every corner of our lives. At first, it was annoying. Then concerning. Now, it felt like something was rotting under the floorboards. He wasn't just into crypto. He was consumed by it. Charts open on 3 monitors. A 4th screen showing live blockchain trackers. A 5th replaying some Crypto Bro podcast where the host looked like he hadn't touched grass since 2019. And Landon watched all of it like it was gospel scripture. But none of that compared to the night I realized something was seriously wrong. It was a Thursday. 2:14 a.m. I woke up to the sound of a door clicking shut downstairs. Landon wasn't supposed to be home. He was working late, supposedly helping a crypto startup with penetration testing. But his car was in the driveway. Lights flickering in the basement window. I crept down the stairs quietly, the way a man does when he's not sure whether he's about to find a burglar. Or find the truth he's been avoiding. The basement door was cracked open. Blue light spilled out like moonlight escaping a frozen lake. I pushed it wider. And there he was. Landon. Face pale from monitor glow. Eyes bloodshot. Jaw clenched. Hands trembling on the keyboard. Not normal trembling. Withdrawal trembling. On the screens. Crypto trackers. Gambling sites. Offshore exchanges. Anonymous wallets. Leverage positions so risky they made my stomach crawl. Then I saw something that made every nerve in my body go cold. My bank account login page. Open on one of his monitors. He had tried 3 passwords. 3 failed attempts. My throat tightened. Landon, what are you doing? He whipped around so fast his chair slammed into the desk. His eyes were wide, frantic, like a cornered animal. Caleb, bro, it's not what it looks like. Oh, good, I said. Because from here it looks like you're trying to break into my account. He stood up, hands raised slightly. Just listen, okay? I'm down bad on a trade. It's temporary. I just needed. You needed what? My voice cracked. My savings? My emergency fund? The money I've been setting aside for school? He tried to smile. A twitchy, broken smile. Caleb, you don't get it. I'm close. I swear. One more play and I can fix everything. Landon. You can't fix a hole by digging deeper. He scoffed, actually scoffed. You sound like an after-school special. The anger rose in slow waves. But the fear rose faster. He wasn't just obsessed. He was gone. Eyes glassy. Breathing fast. Shaking like he hadn't slept in days. Hands twitching from adrenaline withdrawal. Then he said it. The thing that told me this wasn't just addiction. This was delusion. Caleb, you know how smart I am. You know. I'm right there. One move away from 7 figures. 8, maybe. I just need someone who believes in me. Someone who trusts me. I stared at him. I do trust you, I said quietly. That's why I'm terrified right now. His smile dropped. For a split second, he looked like my brother again, scared, tired, defeated. Then it vanished. He pushed past me, muttering, "You'll see. You'll see. Everybody will." He stormed upstairs, grabbed his car keys, and slammed the door behind him. I stood alone in the basement. 5 screens still glowing. Silent. Judging. Telling me what I already knew. This wasn't crypto passion. This wasn't entrepreneurship. This wasn't a rough patch. This was a collapse. And I wasn't sure whether my brother was going to take down just himself. Or drag me with him. For weeks, I tried convincing myself Landon's issues were just normal crypto volatility. Crypto crashes happen. People panic. People lose money. People hide losses because it's embarrassing. But the more I watched him, the clearer it became. This wasn't embarrassment. This was an addiction wearing a hoodie and speaking in jargon. And I knew addiction, not the drug kind, not the alcohol kind, the behavioral kind. The kind you can bury under spreadsheets and technical words until it rots from the inside. Landon's behavior shifted from, "my trades are down," to, "I absolutely must win it back tonight." He wasn't investing anymore. He was gambling for survival. One night, I found him hunched over his laptop at 2:43 a.m. Not an unusual sight, except this time, I heard it. A whisper. A single sentence that made my blood run cold. Just one more. Come on, just one more win. His eyes were glassy. His jaw tight. His fingers trembling over the keyboard. I stood quietly in the hallway, watching him through the crack in the door. On his screen weren't charts. Not graphs. Not blockchain explorers. But a crypto gambling platform. One of those illegal offshore roulette-style systems where people toss coins into a black hole and pray for miracles. And he was losing. Badly. Over and over. Click. Lose. Refresh. Click. Lose again. Occasionally he'd win, $400, maybe $900, and he'd jerk forward, eyes wide, heart racing like someone held defibrillators to his chest. Then he'd lose the next 3 spins. Double the bet. Lose again. A cycle. A trap. A slow bleed. I watched him gamble the same way you watch a car sliding on black ice, knowing the crash is seconds away and there's nothing you can do but brace for impact. I stepped inside gently. Landon. He jolted like I shot him. What are you doing up? He snapped. I pointed at the screen. What are you doing? He slammed the laptop shut. It's nothing. Mind your business. I leaned against the doorframe. Landon, that wasn't investing. That was a casino. It's strategy, he hissed. It's addiction. His nostrils flared, and he stood up like he was ready to fight. You don't know anything about crypto, Caleb. You're just, you. The smart but safe brother. The rule follower. The guy who's too scared to take risks. Normally, I let him talk like that. Not tonight. I'm the one still standing, I said quietly. You're the one drowning. And for a moment, just 1 second, his face cracked. Fear. Real fear. Then he masked it again. Shut up, he said. You don't get it. He pushed past me and stomped upstairs. And for the first time in months, I knew this wasn't a phase. This was a spiral. The next morning, I woke up with a pit in my stomach and one sentence ringing in my head. Follow the money. So I did. Slowly. Quietly. Painstakingly. I logged into the old family PC, the one Landon sometimes used when his laptop overheated, which was often, because it was running 20 tabs of crypto nonsense. I wasn't breaking in. We shared that computer. He never logged out. I opened the crypto extensions. MetaMask. Ledger Live. Phantom. A few others. All empty. But the transaction logs? Not empty. Not even close. I saw dozens of transfers to exchange wallets known for high-risk money flows. I saw traces to gambling platforms operating from Malta, Philippines, BVI, all red flags. Over 200 transactions in the last 3 months. Amounts ranging from $20 to $8, 500 to $15, 300 to $3, 900 to $11,000 in a single night. More disturbing, the source wallets weren't always his. Some were mine. Some were my dad's. And some were joint family accounts. I felt my heart climb into my throat. He wasn't gambling with just his money. He was gambling with everyone's. My pulse pounded in my ears. He didn't just steal. He rerouted. He masked transactions. He moved money through mixers. He used VPN nodes. He staggered amounts. This wasn't a kid messing up. This was someone with real knowledge. Real precision. Real planning. He wasn't addicted despite knowing the tech. He was addicted because he knew just enough to hide it. I kept digging, and found the biggest red flag of all. He set up a smart contract wallet in my name. I froze. He wasn't just stealing money. He was preparing to dump responsibility on me when everything collapsed. I stared at the code. The signatures. The linked wallet. The failed transactions. He wanted to use my identity as a scapegoat. And suddenly, every innocent joke made sense. You're the smart one, bro, you'd make a killer fall guy. You always made everything look organized. If you ever get into crypto, don't screw up, They weren't jokes. They were warnings disguised as humor. He was preparing me. Not as family. Not as a brother. As cover. I felt my hands shake. My breathing shorten. My heart demanded I confront him. My brain told me, document everything first. So I took screenshots. Screen share recordings. Hash IDs. Wallet addresses. Transaction IDs. Timestamps. Metadata. Cross-chain movement history. IP logs. Everything. I built a folder on a hard drive titled, "If anything happens to me, open this." Dark, I know. But I wasn't dealing with a messy gambler. I was dealing with someone spiraling into criminal territory. Someone who could drag me down with him. Someone who thought he was smarter than the consequences. Someone who thought family ties protected him. Someone who thought I'd never fight back. He was wrong. That night, around 11:47 p.m., Landon burst into my room. Sweaty. Shaking. Eyes wide. "Caleb, bro, I need help." He sounded terrified. Not guilty, terrified. What happened? He swallowed hard. "I owe money," he whispered. "Real money. The platform flagged my account. They froze everything. I need you to front me cash until it clears." "How much?" I asked. He refused to answer. So I pressed. "How much did you lose?" He looked me dead in the eyes. "All of it." The bottom of my stomach dropped. "And some of yours," he added quietly. I didn't move. Didn't blink. My voice came out flat. "You stole from me." He shook his head. "No. I borrowed it." "In secret?" I was going to return it." "How, Landon?" My voice sharpened. "How would you return money you gambled?" He backed away like I was holding a gun. "Bro, please. Don't tell anyone. Don't ruin me." He didn't care what he'd done to us. He only cared about being caught. That was the moment something inside me snapped into clarity. For the first time in my life, I saw my brother exactly as he was. Not a genius. Not a prodigy. Not misunderstood. But a liar. A thief. A gambler. And now, a criminal. And I knew what I had to do. Not out of revenge. Not out of anger. Out of survival. And justice. I don't know what finally broke inside me. Maybe it was the credit card bills. Maybe it was the loan collectors calling for charges I never made. Maybe it was watching my mom cry at the kitchen table because the bank froze her account. Or maybe it was just the way my brother, Landon, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Relax, bro, crypto dips and spikes. It'll recover. We're all gonna be rich." We. That word tasted like poison now. Because the only person getting rich was him. And the only person bleeding dry was me. That night, I sat in my room in total darkness. Laptop open. Head spinning. Chest tight. And this moment right here was where everything changed. A cold, heavy realization hit me. Landon didn't borrow from me. He didn't invest for me. He stole from me. From our family. From everyone. And I wasn't even angry at first. I was embarrassed. Humiliated. My own brother, the golden boy, the crypto prodigy, the one everyone bragged about, had turned me into his personal ATM. My hands shook as I opened my laptop. And for the first time ever, I didn't try to save him. I tried to understand him. I started going through every transaction. Every wallet. Every ledger. Every exchange. Every private note I'd saved. Hours flew by. Coffee went cold. My eyes burned. But I kept digging. Because if there's one thing I inherited from my mother's side of the family, it wasn't money. It wasn't business sense. It was obsession. The kind of obsession that keeps you awake for 20 hours straight. The kind of obsession that turns grief into fuel. The kind of obsession that builds FBI agents. Around 3:45 a.m., I found it. A wallet address that wasn't his. Wasn't mine. Wasn't tied to any known exchange. A burner. A ghost wallet. Every theft from me. Every dollar he took from our parents. Every investment he lied about. It all funneled into this one shadow wallet. My heartbeat kicked like I'd sprinted a mile. Because whoever that wallet belonged to, that was his real partner. His real scheme. His real addiction. Crypto wasn't the problem. Greed was. And then it hit me. This wasn't gambling. This was money laundering. Under-the-table transactions. Off-chain movements. Anonymous funnels. Obvious illegal structuring patterns. Stuff the FBI loves. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. It was like every puzzle piece I'd ignored suddenly rearranged itself. Landon's confidence. His arrogance. His "it'll recover, bro" attitude. His expensive clothes. His random late nights. The sudden lifestyle jump. He wasn't a genius. He was a thief riding a wave of borrowed lies. And everyone believed him. Except me. Now. My finger hovered over my phone. One call. One email. One submission to a federal portal. That's all it would take. He'd go from crypto genius to felony defendant overnight. I sat there, shaking. Not from fear. From heartbreak. This was my brother. My childhood best friend. The kid I built blanket forts with. The kid I protected from bullies. The kid who once cried when I left for college. But then I remembered the credit card maxed in my name. The drained savings. My mother crying in the dark. The foreclosure warning on their home. The way he smirked when I begged him to stop. And something inside me hardened. I whispered out loud. You did this. Not me. I took a deep breath. Opened a new tab. Typed the words. FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. My hands didn't even shake anymore. Because for the first time in months, I wasn't confused. I wasn't ashamed. I wasn't trying to fix him. I was doing what was right. I gathered every document. Every screenshot. Every wallet trace. Every ledger. Every fraudulent transfer. Every link tying him to that ghost wallet. I hit submit. I stared at the confirmation page. It stared back at me like a doorway to a new life. And in that exact moment, I knew Landon's days as a crypto genius were over. He wasn't the prodigy anymore. He was a case file. And I was the one who handed the FBI the key. I always thought that when the FBI takes someone away, it's loud. Flashbangs. Helicopters. Agents yelling, "Go. Go." go, like in the movies. But real life? Real life is quieter, scarier, and way more personal. Because after the raid, after the agents marched Landon out of our parents' house in cuffs, after the neighbors filmed the whole thing for TikTok like it was some Netflix docuseries, my phone didn't stop vibrating. Not from friends. Not from coworkers. Not even from the media. From my parents. They were calling non-stop. I didn't answer the first 20 calls. Or the next 10. But eventually, I picked up. "What did you do, Caleb?" My mother's voice came through the speaker, sharp, cold, trembling with rage. "You tell me," I said flatly. She didn't hesitate. "You destroyed your brother's life. You gave them something, I know you did. The FBI doesn't just show up like that." Funny, because that's exactly what my brother told them, too. I could hear my dad breathing hard in the background, that angry, tight breathing men do when they're pacing and trying to look tough. "He's your brother," he snapped. "Why would you betray him like this?" I laughed, a hollow, exhausted laugh. "Dad, Landon stole over $400,000. From me. From you. From Grandma's account. From everyone. He wasn't trading crypto, he was gambling it. Pump and dump scams. Market manipulation. Illegal offshore wallets." My mother cut me off. "No. No. He told us he was making money. He told us you were jealous because he was finally outshining you." There it was. The old wound. The lifelong favorite. I leaned against my kitchen counter and stared at the floor. "Mom, he didn't outshine anything. He burned everything." Her voice cracked. "How could you call the FBI on your own blood?" "I didn't call them," I said calmly. "I gave them proof when they asked for it." Silence. Then, "You're dead to this family." I didn't argue. I just hung up. Sometimes the only way to win is not to play the game anymore. 2 days later, my grandpa's attorney called. Not his assistant. Not the junior associate. The guy himself. "Mr. Warren," he said. "Your brother is asking to speak with you from County Holding." I could have said no. Should have said no. But some part of me, the kid who shared bunk beds with Landon, the kid who taught him to ride a bike, needed to see him. When I walked into the visitation booth, he looked small. Not confident crypto wunderkind Landon the genius. Not charismatic showman. Not social media prodigy. Just a scared 25-year-old who finally hit a wall he couldn't talk his way through. His eyes were red. His hands shook. He didn't speak at first. Then finally. "Caleb. I didn't mean for it to get this bad." I didn't say anything. He chewed his lip, voice breaking. "It started with one trade. Just one. And then another. And then, I kept losing. I was trying to win it back before anyone noticed." I stayed silent. He took a shaky breath. "And then I saw your accounts. You had savings, stability, you had a life. I thought, he won't notice. He's successful. He'll be fine." The words felt like a bruise pressed too hard. "Then why didn't you stop?" I finally asked. His eyes watered. "Because I kept thinking the next trade would fix everything." He wiped his face with his sleeve. "I even told Mom you were jealous, just so she'd get off my back." There it was. The confession. The part that hurt more than the money. He weaponized our parents against me. "Mom and Dad hate me now," I said quietly. Landon stared down. "I know. I'm sorry. But apologies don't refill stolen accounts. Apologies don't erase legal consequences." Apologies don't undo months of manipulation, lies, and humiliation. I didn't yell at him. Didn't lecture him. Didn't threaten. I just said, "You need help, Landon. And for once in your life, help doesn't look like me." He cried harder. I stood up. Walked away. For the first time ever. I didn't look back. When the local news broke the story, crypto prodigy shockingly linked to fraud, it went everywhere. Reddit threads. Finance Twitter. TikTok explainers. YouTube breakdowns with dramatic music and arrows pointing at his face. Everyone who once called Landon a crypto prophet now called him a scammer and a con artist. People found his old live streams and clipped the most arrogant parts. The comments were brutal. Dude wasn't trading crypto, he was trading everyone's savings. Imagine stealing from your own family and still losing money. He deserved that raid TBH. It was ugly. But the part that hit different? My parents, the people who defended him his whole life, started getting backlash too. People online recognized them from the raid footage. Someone leaked my mom's Facebook comments where she bragged about Landon's brilliance. Suddenly they were getting the "you raised him to be this" treatment. They shut down all their social media within 48 hours. The name Warren used to mean something proud in our family. Now it was trending for all the wrong reasons. And then came the email that changed everything. 3 weeks after the raid, I opened my inbox expecting spam or automated bills. Instead, there was an email with the subject line: "Opportunity, Federal Interview, Confidential." It was from an FBI field agent. Not a recruiter. Not a bot. A real agent. He wrote, "Your documentation, chain of custody organization, and analytical notes were unusually strong. We'd like to speak with you regarding a potential role." I stared at the screen for a long time. My brother stole my identity. My money. My peace. But in exposing him, I accidentally proved I was better at investigating than he ever pretended to be. The irony wasn't lost on me. And somewhere between that email and that raid, I changed. Not overnight. Not magically. Not with inspirational music in the background. But slowly. Heavy checkmark. I stopped apologizing for things that weren't my fault. Heavy checkmark. I stopped letting my parents define who the good son was. Heavy checkmark. I stopped letting guilt make me weaker. Heavy checkmark. I stopped protecting people who destroyed me. Heavy checkmark. I started building my own life, not the shadow of his. Landon's downfall didn't save me. But it forced me to finally save myself. And that was the beginning of everything that came next. The day FBI dragged my brother out of our house, the entire street was standing outside like it was the 4th of July. Except nobody was celebrating. The agents escorted Landon down the driveway in handcuffs, barefoot, hair messy, hoodie half-zipped, and for the first time in his life, he didn't look like the golden child. He looked like a criminal who realized the internet hype wasn't enough to save him. Neighbors whispered. Phones filmed. Even Mrs. Anderson across the street, who still mailed Christmas cards in March, gasped loud enough for everyone to hear. Mom stood frozen on the lawn, shaking so hard her phone slipped out of her hand and cracked on the sidewalk. Dad kept yelling. "There must be a mistake. He's a good kid. He's brilliant. He's..." But the FBI agent shut him down with one sentence. "Sir, we have the data logs." He knew exactly what he was doing. And they did. Because I gave it to them. They questioned him for hours. Every Bitcoin trail, every router hop, every anonymous wallet, every VPN node he thought made him invisible. I traced it. Every fake identity. I unpacked it. Every transaction. I time-matched it. By the time the agents laid the evidence on the metal table, Landon went pale. "This is impossible," he whispered. "You can't trace cold wallets like this." "Oh, but he can," the agent said, sliding a folder forward. "Your brother walked us through how you did everything, and how to unwind every step." Landon's face collapsed. He whispered, barely audible. "My own brother?" No rage. No screaming. Just quiet disbelief, like betrayal hurts more when it comes wrapped in truth. "When Mom and Dad visited me the other night, they didn't come in shouting. They came in shattered. Mom sat on the edge of my couch, hands shaking, mascara streaked down her cheeks. How did you even do all this?" she whispered. I shrugged. "I pay attention. That's all." Dad swallowed, voice breaking. "You gave them everything. Every file, every trace, every link." "Yes." "And did you know what it would do to him?" I looked him dead in the eyes. "He stole from me. He stole from hundreds of people. He stole from you." "But he's your brother," Dad whispered. I leaned forward. "And I'm your son. Yet you never believed me. Never defended me. Never listened when I said something was wrong." Silence hit the room like a hammer. Dad looked away. Mom sobbed quietly into her palms. For the first time in our family's history, they realized something painful. I wasn't the background kid. I wasn't the shadow. I wasn't the afterthought. I was the one who fixed everything they ignored. 3 months later, Landon's crypto fraud case went to court. People packed the room: investors, reporters, neighbors, ex-friends, online traders who once worshipped him. The prosecutor explained the entire scheme. The fake AI trading bot. The Ponzi-style payouts. The guaranteed 300% growth claims. The stolen wallets. The manipulated charts. The deliberate misdirection. Then the attorney said the part that changed my entire life. None of this would have been untangled without the technical reconstruction done by the defendant's brother. You could feel the room shift. Landon's fans? Dead silent. My parents? Stunned. My brother? He stared at me like he finally understood. He wasn't outsmarted by agents. He was outsmarted by me. The judge reviewed the evidence, leaned back, and said, "Mr. Warren, brilliant minds can build extraordinary things, or destroy them. Yours did the latter." Landon's breathing hitched. "You used your talent to manipulate the vulnerable. Your brother used his to stop you." Then the judge handed down the sentence. 8 years. Plus restitution. Plus a federal ban on working in finance or crypto ever again. Landon whispered only one thing as they took him away. "How did you beat me?" I didn't answer. Because he already knew. News outlets picked up the story. Crypto genius exposed by his own brother. The quiet one saved hundreds. FBI credits breakthrough to whistleblower. Suddenly, everyone who treated me like background noise couldn't stop talking about me. My inbox exploded. Companies reached out. 2 agencies called. And then, the FBI emailed me directly. "We'd like to discuss a cybersecurity position with you." My hands trembled reading it. Not because I was scared. Because for the first time in my entire life, someone finally saw my worth. And it wasn't because I was loud. Or flashy. Or manipulative. It was because I did the right thing when no one else could. Most people think an FBI raid is the end of a story. For me, that was just the midpoint. Because once the chaos faded, and the crypto dust settled, and my brother was escorted out in handcuffs, real life came rushing back in. And it was messy. The house felt hollow without all the tension. My mom cried for days. My dad avoided me because he couldn't accept the truth. That the son he called a genius was really just gambling with other people's futures. But I didn't feel relief. Not right away. I felt tired, exhausted, emotionally bruised from years of protecting someone who never protected me back. And then, a week after the raid, I got a letter. Not a text. Not an email. A physical, sealed letter addressed to me from the FBI. I stared at it for 3 straight minutes before opening it. Inside was a formal offer. A position. Cyber Threat Analyst, Intelligence Division. A junior role, but one that mattered. One that could actually help people. One built on all the work I'd done digging through wallets, tracing transfers, and breaking down crypto laundering paths. Basically, they wanted me to keep doing what I already did to catch my brother. But for the government. I sat on the couch holding that letter, realizing that all the hours I'd spent alone with a laptop and too much anxiety had somehow turned into a career. The career I always wanted, but never thought I was smart enough to have. And for the first time in years, I felt something unfamiliar. Pride. My brother's trial went public. Crypto scams were big news in 2025. Reporters were camped outside the courthouse. Everyone online had an opinion. He swore he was innocent. Said he was set up. Said I was jealous of him. But the blockchain doesn't lie. Receipts don't lie. Victims don't lie. And the FBI definitely does not lie. He got convicted. The moment the judge read the sentence, something inside me unclenched. Not happiness. Not victory. Closure. He needed help. Real help. The kind you only get when the world stops enabling you. And I finally stopped enabling him. 6 months later, I finally accepted the FBI's offer. Training was brutal. Tests were harder than anything I'd ever seen. But I pushed through. I wasn't the less successful brother anymore. I wasn't the background kid. I wasn't the one who lived in his shadow. I was the guy who stepped up when no one else would. The guy who chose truth over family reputation. The guy who saved innocent people from losing everything. I became the version of myself I always hoped existed. And to be honest, it felt good. I didn't jump into dating. Didn't run into someone's arms. Didn't try to fill the emptiness with a warm body. I focused on myself. On rebuilding. On therapy. On the career that finally made me feel like I mattered. It wasn't until a year later that someone new showed up in my life. Not a dramatic love at first sight moment. Not fireworks. Just peace. A coworker introduced me to her friend, Lena. A software engineer. Smart. Honest. Grounded. We got coffee. Talked. Laughed. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I had something to prove. I felt present. Human. Hopeful. Not healed overnight. But healing. Everyone thought my brother was a crypto genius. Everyone thought I was the quiet one. The forgettable one. The normal one. But when the truth came out, I wasn't the background character in his story. I was the one who ended it. I gave the FBI what they needed. I saved people from losing everything. And I found the version of myself I was told never existed. In the end, he gambled with his life. I rebuilt mine. And I won.